Hello again, everyone. Welcome to INFOcus People and Places. I'm Germain, your host, and today we're going to focus on St. Mary's School. Here in Middlebury, we have the principal, who should know everything there is to know about St. Mary's, and then some. We have Monique Almquist with us. Hi, Monique.
Hi, how are you?
Thanks for coming over.
My pleasure.
You didn't have to travel too far.
No, I didn't.
St. Mary's School. Let's give folks a little background. Maybe there's some people out there new to the area that are not familiar with St. Mary's. It has been here. It closed for a while. It reopened, and that brings us up to date. But there's got to be more to it than that.
There is, of course. The school reopened in 1999 with just over 40 students. Here we are 7-8 years later, and we have 109 students with us right now. So we've seen amazing growth in a very short period of time.
How many till the building bulges and bursts?
156 is the most.
Okay, so you got a little leeway there.
A little bit,
Yeah.
but
and you're always looking for students.
Always.
And you're always looking for parents to help volunteer doing different things. We'll talk more about that later on.
Certainly.
So the school did close for a while. Why was that? Refresh our memory.
Well, my understanding, because of course it predates me, is that at one time Catholic education was free. Okay, parishes would foot the bill, basically. And when it became clear that the religious were not going to be able to staff the building anymore, they were going to have lay teachers, then they would have to charge tuition. And so, being that they didn't want to have to charge tuition for a Catholic education, they opted to close the school, but retained the building.
So what is the status right now? Is there a tuition?
Yes, there is a tuition.
All right.
We have 3 tiers of tuition, one for Catholic in the parish, Catholic not in the parish, and one for non-Catholic.
Okay. We'll talk more about that as well in just a bit. Now, my understanding is as well, you have a preschool.
Yes.
You're connected by a little path.
Basically, there's a right-of-way that goes through, and the college students use it. And so basically, our playgrounds connect. Okay. The preschool is on Weybridge Street, and we are on Shannon Street.
How many in the preschool?
21.
Okay.
So they don't all come on the same day. But we have 21 students down there.
All right. How long have you been principal there?
This is my 3rd year. I'm wrapping up.
And how has it gone so far?
It's been exciting. There's never 2 days that are the same.
You've done a little bit of everything there, haven't you? You were a teacher to start with?
Yes, I started as the 6th grade teacher when I first came was in 2000, and they had only gone from K to 5 at that point. They wanted to add the 6th, so I took the 6th grade position. And then I did the 2nd grade, and I was the director of religious education for a little while. And then stepped into the principal role. I don't know if you call it a promotion. It was sort of just a changing
More of a
hats.
challenge. Had you ever done administrative stuff before?
Not quite like this.
No?
No, I chaired a couple of committees, and that's about as close as I got.
That was about it. But you've done fine so far?
So far. So far. Again, in my time there, we've gone from 95 to 109. So that's showing some growth.
Sure.
And things have gone well. Things have gone well. We've done some new and exciting things coming, so that's always promising.
We were talking before we went on the air. You mentioned that you are now the 2nd largest elementary school?
Yeah, K through 6.
K through 6 in
Yeah,
Addison
up to 8th
County?
grade is a different classification in Addison County. That's,
wow.
To the best of my knowledge, that's the way it still stands.
Now, you are a parochial school?
Yes, we are.
How many parochial schools are there in the state?
There are 16.
Okay.
So we did see 1 closing last year, and we're also seeing a consolidation of 2 schools for the coming year up in the Barry-Montpelier area.
Now,
so it's a tough time for Catholic schools right now.
Now, the whole Catholic system as a whole, they're all consolidating, aren't they? They're consolidating some churches. That may be getting out of your area, but
yes,
I don't know how that affects you, but...
It doesn't affect us particularly because our parish is fairly large, and some of the missions have been consolidated for Bridport and Shoreham. They've combined those parishes. But for Middlebury, we're pretty much on solid ground. There will be some consolidation across the state, and it's kind of a sad thing because, again, we don't have the religious to staff the parishes, and it's a tough time for everyone.
What is the status of not just Catholic educational facilities, but religious education what is the status right now of that realm, that world here in Vermont, maybe as a whole? I mean, is it seeing growth, or?
I think it's seeing a metamorphosis. I think it can't be what it was, and if we want to grow, we need to think a little bit outside the box. And so that's what we're endeavoring to do. The superintendent of schools, Sister Marie Kelly, I think is got the right idea and trying to make sure that the latest cutting-edge educational practices are in place, and that there are resources not just for the teachers but for the students, and that we can pay a livable wage because Catholic schools are notorious for not paying their staff as well as they can in the public sector. We simply just don't have the resources. However, we're trying to change that and make it so that we have qualified people, that we have people that are certified, that we have all the right things for the students to serve our community.
Well, you were one of them once. Tell us about the great teachers there.
I have a fabulous staff. Some of them are relatively new, less than 3 years experience, but some have had lots of experience, and they mentor the others, which is a lovely thing.
Sure.
I sit in staff meetings, and sometimes those can be just absolutely abysmal. But I have found with this particular group of ladies, for the most part, we have established a professional learning community, which allows there to be not just one person giving orders and I'm saying this is what you need to do, this is what happens here. They work together and come up with their own solutions, check it against how I see certain things because I have certain knowledges of different things going on than they do,
Sure.
So we all pool our information, we pool our resources, and there's some really exciting things happening.
Good, and we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
Are your teachers all Catholic? Do they have to be Catholic?
They do not have to be Catholic.
Students don't have to be Catholic either?
No, they do not. As a matter of fact, about 15 to 18% of our population is not Catholic.
Okay. Why do you think the parents are sending them there?
I think because it's just good values,
Okay.
Our setting is not right for everyone. We tend to be very traditional, very structured. However, we find that if we can provide that kind of environment for us, we can give extra minutes every day to learning. Once you start adding up those minutes, by the time they leave, they get an extra year's worth of education. And so there's that bonus.
Sure.
And just generally, it's exciting.
On your sign out front, it says integrity for life.
Yes.
That's your slogan, your motto?
That is our motto.
What does that mean to you? Integrity for life.
It means being true to yourself, being true to others, living an honorable life, respectful of other people, respectful of others' beliefs, of others' viewpoints, but also not being afraid to have your own and being able to stick by them when the chips are down.
Sure. What is your philosophy? This may be the deepest question of this interview. Monique, what is your philosophy of education, teaching at St. Mary's?
Well, of course, there's always the idea that every child can learn. But I think that you can have all kinds of knowledge, and if it's not informed by good Christian values, that it kind of falls flat. There's something missing. There's something missing. And I think in our setting we're able to give that particular piece that would be missing.
Obviously, the religious aspect sets it apart from your mainstream school setting. What else kind of makes it different as well? And you were telling me that, yes, there have been tests done, and students at in a religious setting, a parochial school, probably rate a little bit higher?
On test scores, in many cases, yes.
Why do you think that is?
Well, in part that's because of our population. We don't necessarily have a special education department, so our ability to take special needs children is limited. There are some kids we can service, there are some kids we cannot.
Is that going to change in the future?
Because of the cost, I don't see it happening in the near future.
Okay.
The need for special ed students tends to be that they have more staff members, and that's your single biggest budget item, is to pay your staff, not only their salaries, but benefits and things like that. And so it's just really cost prohibitive for us at this time.
Okay.
But generally, the students do very, very well.
Basically because of the population size, and they get a little bit more attention.
They get a little more attention, and we also have certain structures, again, that gives those few extra minutes every day, because you have certain things that happen in a certain given time, that we're able to provide that. And like I said, over the space of 6 or 7 years, that adds up to a whole extra year's worth of education, if you do it right.
On a percentage basis, how much of the day is devoted to the religious aspect?
There's usually about a half hour every day of direct religious instruction. However, you can work religion into almost anything. And so, you know, if you have a social issue that you're talking about in social studies with your students, it's always interesting to bring religious values into that. I was a little skeptical that you could bring it into math, but I have to say I saw one very creative teacher, blew me away. And
how did they work that?
Yeah, they were estimating division, and they brought in the fishes and the loaves. Knocked me right off my chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was creative.
It was.
Well, let's talk about the students. Where do they come from? This is not just for Addison County, correct?
No, they come from all over. I think the furthest north we've ever had anyone was from Charlotte.
Okay.
And the furthest south we've ever had anyone is from Brandon.
Okay.
So, and
Any from New York State?
no, actually, we haven't had anyone cross over the lake.
And you don't have bus service, correct?
We do not. We do not. It's strictly private pickup. And
Parents or somebody gets them there and picks them up.
Yep.
Well, that's a big commitment.
It is a big commitment. The parents truly sacrifice a great deal for their children to come there. It's not just, well, we're just going to pop them on the bus and therefore, you know, they'll be back at 3:30. They invest their time, their energy. We ask that each family donate 25 volunteer hours to the school each year.
I was going
to
to ask
help
you
offset expenses.
how involved can the parents be?
Oh, they can be as involved as they choose, but we ask for 25 minimum. And really, you know, if you do a couple of field trips, that's 25 hours right there. You know, it's a 6-hour day.
What kind of field trips do you have?
We had actually some of our older students took a bus to Montreal and went to the Biodome.
Okay.
And so that was part of their science, and that was a huge success. We also have had students head up to St. Anne's Shrine in Isle Lamont. A lot of times they're local. The kids will go to the Sheldon Museum. They'll also take trips to Middlebury College Art Museum and do some activities up there. And so we try and, you know, work in some of the more expensive things and then some of the more local things that they're able to do to enrich the program.
Okay, you've got to explain this one. I know you have. We've had conversations in the past, but there are uniforms.
Yes, there are.
I guess that goes along with the traditional
It does.
aspect there. Is there a religious
Point to that?
Yeah. What is the point?
Well, there's two. One's very practical. Laundry's a lot easier. The other piece is it doesn't really rob you of who you are to be in a uniform. Very often we have families from very low income families and we have the very affluent children. In the uniforms, you can't tell who's who. And so who they are as a person, who their little soul is, really shines through instead of what their socioeconomic status happens to be. And that's a beautiful thing, because that's the most precious thing we have, is who we are. And if that can shine through, that's what we want to know.
What is important, and you may have touched upon this earlier when I asked about your philosophy, but what is important to young people these days? I mean, there's a lot going on in the world. I mean, we can look at it from, a lot of people look at it from the post 9/11 era, with all the war on terrorism. There's so much going on in the world these days. With that in mind, what is important to young people, and what can an education at St. Mary's contribute to a young person in light of all that?
I don't know that necessarily what...
And maybe not just St. Mary's, but, religious education as
necessarily
a whole.
What's important to them. I think what I've noticed is that there are things that are missing. And people, even young people, are looking for that missing piece. My personal thought on that is that they're looking for God. They're looking for something to fill that void. And that's the only place that they're going to find it. So what I see as St. Mary's being able to offer in that line is, again, to have the education, to have the very best that we can possibly offer in an academic, excellent, setting. But also that other piece of what to do with that. What do you do with that education once you've got it? How do you use it to make your life better, other people's lives better? It's about, so much of the culture is self-gratification, and so much about the culture that we try and foster is about self-donation. And that, it's in giving that we receive. That's where we're happy. I think that's what St. Mary's offers.
As far as the education goes, you have the typical classes, math,
social
math,
studies, science, language arts. We do offer Spanish.
Okay.
And we have PE and art and music.
Do you have computers?
We have some. Right now, actually, we have a very exciting thing happening. We've had matching grants being offered to the school for our technology. And if we come up with the original funds of about $14,000 worth, we have two lovely donors that will match those grants, give us $28,000, and we'd be able to do some pretty snazzy things with technology for our school.
You can't stay away from the technology these days.
No, you can't.
So it's very important.
It is.
What kind of feedback do you get from the parents? What kind of feedback do you get from the students? Are they happy with everything? Are they happy with the uniforms?
I don't know if they'd be happy with the uniforms. They do enjoy the occasional dress down day.
Okay.
For their birthday. If they have their birthday month, the last Friday of that month, they get to dress down. And we do have special occasions for a non-uniform day. Parents love the uniforms. Again, that laundry piece. They think that's great. To say that everybody was happy with everything, I would be lying. And Catholic school principal, that's not part of the job description. You can't lie. So I would say that people are pleased with the education that their child are receiving, that they are committed to what they want for their child, and that they're willing to go the extra mile to see that succeeds. And that's a great thing.
Run us through a typical day, if there is a typical day.
A typical day starts with the children arriving, some of them arriving as early as 7:30. We do have extended programs at the beginning of the day and at the end. Children arrive, enter the classrooms about 8 or 8:10. And basically there's some writing, some religion, some math, some language arts. There's usually a special that happens during the day, being PE or Spanish, something for the kids to look forward to. Your basic lunch and recess. The little kids get to go out more often than the big kids. And again, classes resume in the afternoon. There's usually some special project going on. I was walking through 5th grade today. They were dissecting the parts of the Mass and what meant what. And it's a very rich tradition. In the 6th grade classroom, you can walk in there and travel back to ancient Egypt if you'd like. In 4th grade, they have been doing...
You don't have that many computers, but you do have a time machine.
Oh, yes. Yes. Every school has one, right?
Oh, okay.
I think so. And in 4th grade, they were doing some nifty things in math, So there's always a lot of energy, a lot of activity. The kids are usually very engrossed in what they do. The afternoon, everybody leaves around 3, and then we have the extended program until 5:30. And so there's homework and help for that, and usually an activity.
Okay, it is a parochial school. It's a religious school. Monique, is prayer allowed?
Oh, for heaven's sakes, of course.
Okay, just checking. I know that's a controversial subject, but I figured, it being a religious school, that there would be prayer.
Yeah. You got to talk to God every day.
Interested parents. You have open houses. You let parents come in and check it out if they're on the fence.
Check it out before you buy.
That want to check it out. That's always welcome.
Always welcome. This evening, as a matter of fact, I know this will air. Obviously not today.
But you are having an open house.
We are having an open house today. Yep, from 6:30 to 8 o'clock.
How often do you have those?
Usually we have 2 big ones. We have one in January that focuses on the primary grades, and then we have one for all grades, usually in March. But we are opening enrollment as of March 17th to other families. So if any other family would like to come in and see them, April, May, June, July, they're always welcome. All they need to do is call the school.
There is tuition. Is that the only way you get funding, or do you get funding from the Catholic Church?
No.
How do you operate?
We operate with a good many sources of income. The tuition is our largest chunk. We do have an annual appeal that usually raises about $30,000 to $35,000 every year. We have been experimenting with some other fundraisers, but generally we raise about $120,000 each year.
Wow. I asked you, comments from parents, comments from students. What is the reaction from the community as a whole? Were they happy to see St. Mary's open again?
I think so. I think so. It's part of their culture, their tradition.
There was a large empty building there for a long time.
That's right, and there is a large alumni, and it's always wonderful to have somebody knock on the door and say, hey, I used to go to school here, can I just take a peek? And we're more than happy to give them a tour. I got a lovely letter from a nun who used to teach there, and she came back with one of her students to view the building, made a special arrangements, so it's nice to be part of someone else's history.
All right, you brought up nuns. Let's talk about the nuns.
Sure.
You have to answer to the nuns, correct? We've joked about
to
this in the past.
To a certain degree, yes.
Okay, who are the mysterious nuns?
There's Sister Marie Kelly, who is the diocesan superintendent, and there is Sister Shirley Davis, who is her assistant superintendent. And basically, they work with the bishop to help oversee the schools.
And you're doing a good job so far? You haven't been reprimanded or anything?
Not lately.
Okay. Do they show up a lot?
They come a couple times a year.
Unannounced?
No, they usually call me before they come.
How much? You're part of? Are you part of St. Mary's Church?
Yes.
Okay, sort of an offshoot of that, one of the ministries.
Yep. Yes, basically.
Yeah.
It's part of the educational ministry of the church.
I mean, so there's a lot of cooperation between the two.
Yes, I am directly answerable to the pastor.
Okay.
So, in canon law, I answer to the pastor answers to the bishop, archbishop to the pope. I'm as close to the top as I'm going to get.
You haven't had any emails or anything from the pope yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. What is the future of religious education in Vermont? And what is the future of St. Mary's? Is there a lot of potential there?
Oh, there's an amazing amount of potential. I think because we offer something that nobody else does in this area. The closest Catholic schools are either in Rutland or in Burlington, and that's a long drive for many families. We have a thriving population. Clearly, if we're growing from just over 40 students to 109, we must have something that people are interested in. So I have
Do you ever get
great
together
hope.
with all the other principals?
Oh yeah, about once a month, once every 6 weeks or so.
Okay.
And we chit-chat. I think the future of Catholic education is going to have to, schools are going to have to look at themselves differently. Again, and I think under the current leadership, we will. We need to have cutting edge practices and follow through on those.
What is the stimulus for staying, purely traditional? Is it cost cutting, or
It works.
it works?
If it's not broke, don't fix it. It works. The kids come out with an excellent education. We're sending one of our 5th grade students to the National Spelling Bee here tomorrow. So
Very good.
Yeah, we do very well, and we have alumni also going. So folks that have left us and gone on to higher education, they're continuing to do well.
There's
You
proof
can't
right
beat
there.
it. Yeah, you can't beat it.
So again, parents that are interested, I mean, you do have the occasional open house, but really, you have open house every day.
Basically.
Somebody could, a
Yep,
parent
they could
show
call
up.
and say, can I see the classrooms? Or I'm really interested in such and such. Can you tell me about your curriculum? Can you tell me about what you offer? More than happy to sit down with them.
All right, where are you located?
We are located at 86 Shannon Street, right here in Middlebury.
If you find St. Mary's Church,
You
you're very
basically,
close.
Yeah, you hang the right just before the church, and we're the yellow brick building there. You can't miss us.
Now there are, just a couple minutes left. Now there are other religious schools in the area, not all Catholic.
Right.
you don't diminish their impact, do you?
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't.
You don't have to be
diminish
strictly
anybody's-
Catholic to be.
No,
Okay.
no. I think every school, I worked in public schools for 12 years before I came here. I think that teachers in any venue are some of the hardest working people you will find anywhere. I think that in our setting, we're just able to offer something different. It doesn't mean that it's, to diminish anyone else ever.
All right, Monique Almquist, Principal, St. Mary's, as we get set to head out today here on INFOcus, let's focus on parents. Leave us with some heavy advice.
Heavy advice for parents?
For parents.
Oh my goodness.
For their children.
Your children are the greatest gift from God you'll ever get. Love them, take good care of them, and teach them well.
And education would be an important part of that.
Yeah, I think so.
And you're doing a great job over there at St. Mary's.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for coming by today.
My pleasure.
Principal of St. Mary's School here in Middlebury, Monique Almquist. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you out there for tuning in today. I'm Jerry Germain. That's going to do it for this edition of INFOcus People and Places. Until next time,